Hey everybody, Maction here, and I'm sure that you are just as interested as I am to hear how the Mojo performs. Now you may remember that I first saw this back at the GameStop Expo last year. Mad Catz was showing it off there at that conference, and ever since then I've been very interested to get my hands on it. Well, now I can finally report how it is. But before we get into that, I should mention that if you get a Mojo, you need to root it as soon as possible. You see, almost every game or app has this just little requirement written into the code. It doesn't have to be, but most of them do. It says that your Android device needs to have a touch screen. Well, as I'm sure you can probably imagine, the Mojo doesn't have a little something. You guessed it, a touch screen. But no worries, you root it, and you'll be in good shape. And interestingly enough, Mad Catz is so much a fan of you rooting your device that they even provide support on how to get it done. For legal reasons, I imagine, they just can't send it to you pre-rooted. So, rooting, it's important. And it has the capability to stream games to your PC. A lot of people don't know that. At the current moment, it is capability only because they haven't implemented it. But I understand from having spoken with some of their tech people that it is on the horizon, so you can look forward to that in the future. Now let's take a look at the hardware that's powering the Mad Catz MOJO. It has a 1.8 GHz quad-core Tegra 4 processor, 2 GB of RAM, Bluetooth 4.0, an HDMI out, one USB 2.0 port, and one USB 3.0 port. It has a Wi-Fi module, as well as 100 megabit per second Ethernet. No battery, of course, because it plugs in. It is, after all, a set-top box. It comes with 16 gigabytes of internal storage and a micro SD card slot that's tucked right next to the HDMI port, so you can't have it plugged in as you put in new cards. That'll help you expand the storage up to 128 gigabytes. Alright, so let me tell you a little bit about what I like. Interestingly enough, it's something that others seem to not like about the Mojo. And it's the stock Android experience. You see, I'm not a big fan of skins or interfaces. That's why you always see me just using the stock look instead of special launchers. As such, the stock experience on the Mojo is great for me, but some people find it a little bit clunky. It's something I'm familiar with. I know where everything is, I know how to get to everything, and I know where the settings are. Additionally, I also have tons of games already purchased through Google Play, and I really don't enjoy having to pay for them again. If it had locked me into a different app store, that would definitely make the Mojo much lower on my list, but since it doesn't, no problems at all. And as a matter of fact, since it has just the normal stock Android experience and the Play Store, all of the streaming apps and all of the browsers and everything that works with your Android device, like my phone here, will work on the Mojo. Except for on your television screen, of course. Now, on paper, it is worthy of noting that the Mojo is the strongest, fastest, and definitely the highest spec set-top box or micro console that is currently on the market. But how does that translate into real-world performance? Well, I'll start by giving you a couple of benchmarks. For example, the 3D Mark Extreme always is maxed out on the Mojo, and Antutu comes out just shy of 22,000. Now, it nips right at the heels of the LG G2. Now, of course, I've played tons of games that have controller support, and the Control-R, which comes with the Mojo, is fantastically compatible. Almost everything that supports a controller will support that. Now, I'm not a whiz on the software side of things, but whatever Mad Catz has done to make the controller compatible, they did a really good job, because there are plenty of circumstances where I half expected it not to work, but works perfectly. Now, you can swap on the controller between 3 modes: the Game Smart mode, mouse mode, and then the PC mode. But I really only used the Game Smart and mouse modes, mostly the Game Smart mode for playing actual games and the mouse mode for navigating. This micro console does, however, hold a little surprise for you. that surprise comes in an interesting form. Now, after a while, you've been playing the games that you can just find on the Google Play Store that have controller support, things like Dead Trigger and Dead Trigger 2, and so on. And then you think, that's not bad, this. But then, something magical happens. It's when you discover emulators and ROMs. Now, I've known about these for quite some time, so I threw every single ROM at this that there was an emulator for. That I actually had a physical copy of that I owned so as not to be in violation of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. But it's brilliant. You see, it handles all of them just really buttery smooth. As a matter of fact, I'm going to link Console Vision's 2-hour-long video of pretty much nothing but emulators on the Mojo. Now, it'd be a great injustice not to mention the accessories. Mad Catz has their Game Smart initiative that works splendidly with the Mojo, but not surprisingly, because it's the center. But let me read you what they say the point of the Game Smart initiative is. It says, quote, "Our Game Smart wireless devices will have a simplified setup process, longer battery life, and universal compatibility." Now, I would have to check everything out to be able to test that whole universal compatibility claim, but it worked with everything that had controller support. In addition to the controller, there's also wireless mice, keyboards, headphones. All of these worked just great with everything that I tried them. Tablets, phone, even my computer. But I know that you're asking one important question. Do they come in red? Yes. Lately, I've been using the Mojo mostly for things like emulation and streaming, and as you already know, it does a great job of emulation, and streaming does an equally good job. Things like YouTube or Netflix, anything that you can get normally on an Android device, work great. Now, you might think that $199 is a hefty price to pay for a set-top box. But the Mojo is quite a bit more than just a set-top box. Really, at its heart, it's a gaming center. A gaming center, and quite a good one at that. Whether you're into mobile gaming, retro gaming, or even, once that last piece is in place, PC gaming, it's got you covered. And it does a great job of it all. Now, it hits all the right notes for me, so I'm going to hang on to the Mad Catz Mojo. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed, and if you have, a comment or a like would be most appreciated. You see, it's your feedback that lets me know how to best allocate my time to the things that you want to see. If you click on any of the links around here, you'll be taken to a playlist with more of that particular brand of madness. And be sure to subscribe so that you can always be the first to know when I have some new content out. Thank you very much, and I'll see you around. Guess who's got 2 thumbs and made it through this whole review without a single pun? That's right, this guy.